Previously on USOB, the bungknockers invaded the friendly confines of Old Forester.
Our yeast strain is known for that rich banana bread, apple pear flavor and aroma.
And we ride that thick copper pipe all the way up to the top floor. Oh, yeah.
Wow! It's on fire!
We were the first to do value-added packaging, much to the chagrin of package stores everywhere today. But holiday decanters from the 50s and 60s, which I'll actually show you the whole lineup.
Sure.
This is the entire collection. Holiday decanters from the 50s and 60s, which I mentioned we were also the first to do.
If I could go back in time, my lord. So I'm never embarrassed to say that I will, especially because my first bottle of bourbon that I purchased was a little over 3 years ago or 4 years ago.
Wow, that's amazing.
I mean, maybe I
Love
bought
it.
something randomly, but consciously saying, "Oh, I want to get like I'm getting bourbon.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying bourbon." And I went simply by, did a little bit of research, but I didn't really know what I was reading. And bottle art is huge, enormous, across the board, across every brand. It's important.
It is. I mean, the shape of your bottle, the label, how you stand out. Now,
I know these are holiday specials, but just in general, I mean, I see works of art in hand-blown glass, on those shelves, and just looking at it to me is, evokes some beautiful kind of feeling of, something special.
Yeah. It's so much fun to look at these, and even 50 years, 70 years later, right?
Wow.
Here's the real story is the gentleman on the wall across from us. You'll see his name is Raymond Loewy. Nobody knows this guy's name unless you went to college for design or something. But he's known as the father of industrial design. A few of his contributions are on the wall there. He designed the Shell and Exxon logo, the U.S. Postal Service emblem, Greyhound bus logo, Lucky Strike cigarette package. He was also one of the lead designers for the redesign of the glass Coke bottle when the Cola Wars started back in the 50s.
Cool.
Which is iconic. Right?
Absolutely.
He
Trivia
was-
question for you, because you've given us so much information. We want to return that in kind.
Indeed.
Do you know who is responsible for the little eyes on the Cinnamon Toast Crunch box?
Do not. I'm gonna guess Raymond Loewy.
That man.
Oh, him right there. Okay.
Yes.
Have you heard of Raymond Loewy?
I have actually.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Do they call you Tyler the Palate? Is that your nickname here?
No, we haven't done that yet. Bourbon Yoda. Bourbon Yoda, I think, is the highest accolade.
Better, yeah. It's much better.
Is my favorite
Much
moniker
better.
that I've gotten
Much
so
better.
far. Well, so I understand most of you are fans, I think. Are you familiar with the Whiskey Row series? Have you had all of these expressions?
I haven't had all.
Okay, cool. As we kind of mentioned downstairs, these are the elevated expressions of Old Forester, celebrating landmark events in our history as well as the history of bourbon in general. So I do think it's one of the most brilliant lineups out there, in that you have all these different dates and it allows all these touch points on bourbon history, right? And allows you to tell the story about bottled in bond, prohibition. The lineup just invites so many questions from the consumer standpoint and allows us to share those stories. So if, as we mentioned, you would like just to follow my lead, I will geek out on you for a few minutes. Only smell when I tell you to smell and how.
Okay.
Otherwise, the little magic tricks don't work as well, all right?
Got a little weird in here, didn't it? All right.
All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna start left to right today. So we're gonna grab the glass on our far left. And we're venturing from 90 all the way up to 115 proof within this lineup. But even at less than 90, I still recommend you keep that circulation of air going, keep your mouth slightly open, because you don't want to inhale alcohol vapors, right? Your lungs aren't built for that. So just keep your mouth slightly open as we nose these. But Here's what we're gonna do. If you are looking at this glass face to face, doesn't need to be that, yeah, slightly, yeah. If you're looking at this glass face to face, it's probably at kind of a 45-degree angle, right? There's a top rim and a bottom rim. I'm gonna have you start with what would be the bottom rim of the glass, right underneath the tip of your nose, like so. Take 2, maybe 3 short little sniffs, pull the glass away. And the reason I tell you to do that is, in short, your nose kind of has this raging case of ADD. It gets bored very, very quickly, right? Your nose, it's kind of comical, like your nose is actually the most primal sense that you have. If you think about, all animals smell better than we do, right? Humans, we developed hand-eye coordination for making tools.
Who do you hang out with?
We developed
Tyler?
listening for complex language, right?
Is able to smell better. Not
Oh, God. Oh,
smells better.
Got it.
So we developed listening for complex language. Your nose is still kind of reptilian. So deep down, all it really cares about is whether something is like food or a threat or might help you make babies. Other than that, it's moving on to the next thing in about 4 to 5 seconds.
Whiskey has helped with that.
Yeah, I mean, arguably bourbon could be any 3 of those things, right? But according to your olfactory epithelium up here, it's none of those. So the bottom line is, if you're just being too aggressive, you're trying too hard, you're sniffing deep 5, 6, 7 seconds, those aromas start to wane and fade out. All these might start to smell identical. And bottom line, you've got nose blind. And it takes 5, 10 minutes to get up, get to a different environment, leave the room, let your senses and your nose refresh. We don't necessarily have that kind of time. So I typically recommend 2, 3 seconds max, pull the glass away, give yourself a soft breath out through the nose. It's gonna keep you fresher longer as we move through these. Okay, one more, let's refresh ourselves. One more 1-second sniff down at the bottom rim of the glass. All right, here's the fun part. When we come back, instead, I'm gonna have you take the top rim of the glass and rest it almost on the tip of the bridge of your nose. So the whole point of this, instead of having the tip of my nose right down here, I'm gonna have you move it right underneath the top rim of the glass. Do that now, and I think you'll get lighter, sweeter, fruitier, juicy fruit bubblegum, bananas.
Oh, wow.
It's a
you
different
bet.
profile, right? Just 1-inch difference.
Pull it away, Dan. I can't.
And what's happening is you have heavier alcohols, fatter molecules, which will sit and stay down at the bottom here. Up here, this is where you're getting some of those light, fruity, floral fermentation esters that we gain from our yeast downstairs in fermentation, as well as lighter, more volatile alcohols that develop over time and age inside those barrels. Those things are lighter on their feet. They waft up and out of the glass a little easier. So hopefully you all find this a fun way to get different perspectives, maybe draw out some additional flavors and aromas that you would otherwise miss possibly. Now, I want to lead disclaimer here, right?
Please.
Caveat, this is all subjective. Like, we all have different scent memories that we have formulated since birth, essentially. If your grandmother made apple pie and nutmeg was a secret ingredient in her apple pie, if you smelled stewed apples, your brain's gonna start looking for nutmeg. Yours didn't.
Right.
Not gonna go that direction. It's gonna have to go different routes.
My mother never made
Bottom
me a
line,
pie
if
in her
I
life.
say cantaloupe and you're getting raspberry, you do you. That's perfectly fine. We all have done. You're not right, you're not wrong. But on original batch here, I usually get those nice deep caramels, first and foremost. I think we all agreed up top on the kind of juicy fruit bubblegum,
Juicy
banana
fruit.
thing.
When you said juicy fruit,
Right?
I'm like, God damn, that is juicy fruit.
Good, I'm glad that worked. And then at the back, on the back end, and especially on the palate, on the back end, especially on the palate with Old Forester, I call it requisite. There's this requisite clove, cinnamon, anise spice that we have, which if you take a small sip, now the first sip's usually a toss out, right? It's just to acclimate our palate. So roll it around, get it underneath your tongue, between your cheeks and gums, all that. We're gonna let our palates acclimate for about 30 seconds while I talk about this. Then we're gonna come back. So First in the series, 1870, original batch. Paying homage to that whole story we talked about downstairs, right?
Right.
George was not a distiller for the first 30 years of the brand. He's sourcing from these 3 other distilleries to batch his whiskeys. Those folks are no longer around, thank you, Prohibition. But we're still here, and in that tradition, we are taking barrels from 3 distinctly different warehouses and aging environments, like George would have done back in the day. In this case, hot and high level of one house, attic levels, low and cool levels of a second warehouse, sweet middle center of a third warehouse. Batching those barrels together like George was practicing back in the day, and then bottling it in glass at 90 proof, which is what Old Forester was originally released at when it was bottled in 1870. So now, come back, take another sip. What I think you'll notice, this time it's softer, creamier. It's got more viscosity to it. It's not all alcohol, right? That's just after 2 sips. So our palates are starting to acclimate.
Yeah.
So again, reserve judgment from that first sip. Never judge, never take notes on your first sip because not fair to the whiskey, right? All right, so anyways, our palates are now acclimated, so we'll jump to the second glass, which,
Bomb, baby.
if he knows this, I think immediately you'll notice deeper, darker, richer caramel, right? Vanilla's deepening into more of a butterscotch.
Oh, yeah. Butterscotch for sure.
Yeah. This is also the one.
Wow. Did you nose yours at all?
I've been swirling and nosing and I've been doing everything.
Don't come back.
Right. So this is also the one I usually get more of those fall spices, clove, cinnamon, cedar, orange peel. Now, if we take a sip of this, it's more expansive on the palate, right? Definitely kind of soaks in your cheeks. We've jumped from 90 to 100 proof, but some of you may find this smoother just because your palate's acclimating. But here's what I want you to pay attention to. 20, 30 seconds in, sides of your tongue are still salivating, and that prickly black pepper is still dancing on your tongue, which that's the rye coming forward. Rye is known for spice, right? But that's why I love the juxtaposition between these two in particular, because we talked about this at the very beginning, also in the warehouse. We're only making Old Forester here. There's just as much rye in this as there is in this, as there is in this, as there is in this.
Same mash bill.
Everything that we make, it's all the same juice. Remember, it's 27 years from when Old Forester goes into a barrel until you get any regulations. So you can still find tobacco spit and creosote and anything else in a barrel of whiskey. Finally, 27 years later, one of George's constituents, a guy by the name of Colonel E.H. Taylor Jr., he and his lot lobbied Congress for the Bottled in Bond Act. And the landmark thing about it, it's the first Consumer Protection Act in American history, right? Which cracks me up, because it took 9 more years before we know what's in aspirin or mascara,
Right, so
anything else we're putting in or on our
The first
body.
consumer protection for anything. And
Exactly.
it was whiskey.
bourbon. Yeah. American priorities, right? Okay, so what do we notice about 1910 versus the others?
Well, it's 93 proof.
Correct. But just glaringly,
It's darker.
it's darker, right? So that could tell
Deep
you,
amber.
what could darker tell you?
What, aged long?
Aged longer. Deeper, darker barrel char. Hotter, higher part of the warehouse. All kinds of things. In any regard, it looks like it's gonna be this deep brooding beast, right? If we nose it, I love the nose on this one.
Like
Especially down at the bottom rim. Fresh peeled skin of a green apple.
Oh my gosh, it is.
Some people get
You really are the nose.
Some people get Jolly Rancher. Whatever tricks you want to use. This one has oatmeal cookie. Yeah, sea salt caramel.
I don't get that.
Maybe not. Like I said, all subjective.
Tyler, you might be wrong on that one.
Here's. I'm gonna try this out. Take a breath out through your nose. What I want you to do is rest your nose on the top of the glass. Let me know if you get that char that you smelled when you ducked your head inside of a barrel
Damn
upstairs.
right.
You get it?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yep. 100%. 100%.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, well, let's take a little sip.
Mm. Yeah. God.
Viscosity, chewy, soaks into your cheeks, right?
Oh,
So,
wow.
all those reasons that we talked about for the deep dark color of this, again, it's only 93 proof, so barrel proof isn't the culprit. Are you familiar with Woodford Double Oaked? You hung out with Elizabeth a few days ago, right? So you are.
We are giant fans of Woodford Double Oaked, and our only sad moment at that beautiful place with that terrific master distiller in Elizabeth was that there was no double oak. Available because Double Oak Woodford is one of my favorites.
Is it?
Absolutely.
Well, so this is our version, same process.
I get it.
And once again, the story and the history, it all traces back to the building you're sitting in right now. So where you were during fermentation, that was our bottling line from 1882 until 1919 when we moved out of this building. 1910, fire breaks out near the bottling line. So we had to take every empty barrel shell that we had on hand, roll them underneath the bottling cisterns, empty that whiskey back into barrels. We rolled it out the back door onto Washington Street and down a few blocks to a storage unit. Wow. Saved the bourbon and saved the building,
And that's in the span
thankfully.
of a few hours.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
fire going on.
Exactly.
How many children died to save the bourbon?
I was not around
Tyler,
back then.
tell
and
me
that was
how
not in
many
the
children?
articles.
Plenty.
I think Batman saved them all, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Damn right.
So, but as the story goes, as the history legend tells it, those barrels sit in that storage unit an additional 2 years while we focused on making repairs, getting our day-to-day operations back up and running. So now it's 1912. And Owsley, George's son, he's like, those barrels from the fire? Like, that was 2 years ago. That's a lot of money sitting there, you know, like they can't sit there forever. We got to do something with them. So they taste them. At that point, it does not taste like classic, to be batched, consistent Old Forester that people have come to expect over the last 40 years, but it's pretty damn good. So Owsley decided to do a one-off. He just took those barrels from the fire, vatted them, dumped them, batched them together, put them in a bottle. In doing so, we inadvertently created the first documented case of a bourbon ever being double oaked or double barreled.
Oh boy. We're moving on
All right,
to
so
my meat and
This is your favorite, you
potatoes.
said? This is your favorite.
So
My
as we
1920.
mentioned, this is now we're at 115 proof, right?
Get out.
Here's the interesting thing. Out at Woodford, when I'm out at Woodford, we talked about Woodford Double Oaked. I call Woodford Double Oaked my dessert in a glass out at Woodford Reserve.
Sure, yeah.
You didn't hear me call 1910 my dessert in a glass, even though the processes are similar, right? A second barrel that we age it in. I actually call Prohibition my dessert in a glass at Old
Do you
Forester.
really?
Even though it's the highest proof.
If you nose it, it's chocolate.
Really?
It sure is.
Moreover, I call it the Russell Stover gift box. It's chocolate and cherry, chocolate and coconut, chocolate and caramel, chocolate and toffee, chocolate and graham cracker. Just anything confectionery sweet kind of that you're looking for.
Wow. God.
And take a little sip. Now it
It's
is
a chocolate
115
cherry
proof.
is what it is. Oh man. Like,
Again, roll it around. Now, very
That's a lot of spice.
expansive. Yeah, you get spice. You might get a little heat. It's 115 proof, but what I love about Old Forester in particular, even at barrel proof, even at 130, 135, even if it is hot and spicy, it stays above the collarbone.
yeah.
It's
Absolutely
not
does.
chasing.
Yes.
You don't need Pepto-Bismol
yeah.
That's right.
after drinking high proof, right? And that's a testament to the maturity, the toasting of the barrels, the heat cycling that we do in our warehouses. No matter what the proof is, the bourbons are, they're fully mature. They've got that.
so
They've
good.
got that softness
It's so
to
good,
them.
Tower. For
me,
me, so
the-
good.
the
Still
palate
going,
is
isn't it?
Yeah.
all banana bread for me. I love it.
Really?
Banana bread, love it. Yeah.
Tom?
I should have waited until you were done with the timing. It was about the timing, Mitch. I'm sorry.
I'm not getting banana bread. Am I dumb?
All right.
It's our running gag. If someone smells something and no one else says, they just go,
Oh,
"Am I
God,
dumb?"
It's beautiful.
I love this.
Four
You know
very
what?
distinct
Very different.
experiences from the same mash bill, just about aging and rick houses and levels and years and
Proof,
and
yep.
proof and
We compared
You know-
Mashbills earlier to almost like a script or a screenplay, where you start, and it's interesting to try and think of that analogy to if you had the same script, but you staged it or you filmed it in 4 different ways. That's my
No,
metaphor. and I-
absolutely.
100%.
That's a great analogy.
It's perfect,
different
right?
casts,
4 different
yeah.
casts, 4 different
Directors,
directors or whatever, but the same raw material.
Same story.
The
Yeah,
same story.
I love that.
The same
It's a
script.
great analogy.
100%. I directed this one, by the way.
I am. I think if I've learned anything on this trip, it's that I might be dumb.
I was casting this one.
Is that your favorite?
Yes. It's a-
Nice.
So I directed this. Graham starred in this. Brandon composed this. Mitch, you're old school. I mean, it's beautiful.
Even though I'm
it was like
obsessed with
their
this one,
original.
I no longer
Favorite
get that.
whiskey.
Tell you what, we're gonna
What's
do.
behind door number 2?
It's actually one of the old tobacco spittoons.
How about this
I wanna try
instead?
something new,
President's
yeah.
choice.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, solo mio.
You need more water?
You got that out of which?
Oh, sorry, I didn't meant to be pushing the
No, you're
can
fine.
forward.
Anybody else?
Okay, that is super cool.
Thank you, yes.
I
meant to-
have.
Sorry.
Does this even, Tyler? Does this even hit the shelves? No. This is Kentucky only.
It is. I
correct?
mean, it hits the.
You said it's distillery only.
It
right?
hits the retail desk. Yeah, we'll release it here.
Right.
And again, a lot of it goes towards charity auctions and stuff like that locally.
Oh, we're charitable.
How many
case.
bottles a year did you say?
We'll do about 5 to 6 barrels
Okay.
a year, and they're usually 8 to 12 years old. The one that you have in front of you is actually our first 12-year
Oh wow.
President's Choice. This is the first one selected by our new master taster, Melissa Rift. 12-year barrel, and it's beautiful
Oh
stuff.
my gosh.
Oh my
And the
God.
reason it's back here in the office is for tasting notes and whatnot, because this has not yet been released.
This
So
has
you're
not
some of
been
the first
released yet.
people, some of the first
Really?
people to taste this. So,
Hey, cheers to
guys.
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Oh, our pleasure.
Wow.
Wow.
And you'll notice how the dynamic changes, almost double the age. We're going 12.
What is that?
Yeah, what is that?
The nose on the bottom. What is that? What am I smelling?
Well, depends, but usually kind of a deep cherry butterscotch.
Cherry.
Yeah.
Cherry butter. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm having an out-of-body experience.
But it's just so much more intense, right? So it gets a little harder. You might want to hover your nose a
I
little
equated it
further
the
away
other
from it.
day when you're, listen, these are beautiful and we will continue to buy them. But, you know, and this is Delta Comfort Plus. And this is, you're the pilot of the airplane. Do you know what I mean?
It's your
It's your airplane.
It's a G5 instead of, yeah. Right. Can't travel on it every day,
That's
but when
right.
you do, it's freaking cool.
You bet.
Yeah.
You bet. Wow, it's a beautiful pour.
Oh, it's so creamy.
People like you are part of the reason we're experiencing this huge renaissance in the industry.
And we
right?
want to get the word out. We want this to be accessible to people. We don't want people to be intimidated by, you know, what we actually were maybe quasi-intimidated by before we even came on this trip.
Good. I'm happy to
you
hear
know-
that. And I think, you know, a lot of tourists, you were just saying that, they come out here and they realize how kind of laid back it is, and how genuine the people are, how rich the history is. It's very
Absolutely.
inviting.
And there's a great deal of pride as a consumer in knowing what it is that you're consuming and the provenance of it.
Certainly.
And all of that. There's a great deal of pride in that. But that's the whole point. You know, it's lovely to sit around your home and to open or your porch or wherever and enjoy a bottle with friends and family. But there's also a whole world and culture of this that's interactive and about meeting new people and, you know, getting into an Uber, probably not your car, you know, and exploring all of it. And that's what we want to find. We want to find that and how it's miraculous every single time I hear it. And when I meet people like you, it's such a joy to see the intersection of our art forms and to see how we're all kind of doing the same damn thing.
Absolutely.
We're making different...
It's art, it's passion.
We're making different shit, but our processes are quite similar.